So I wanted to talk a little bit about Akali in today's video, but not so much like what do you hope that happens in the Akali rework, but more so when it comes to playing against Akali, actually. What do you think is actually fair that she does, and hopefully if she does still have it in her kit when she's reworked, she can still be allowed to do, and then as such, what do you hope that gets changed? Because when you play against Akali, you feel like something's unfair, or you feel like something could just use a little bit more clarity, actually, if nothing else. Maybe there's an ability where you're like, it's actually a fine ability if it was just a bit more clear, so I can understand how to play against it better. Because when it comes to Akali, one of her main problems right now is she kind of feels a bit feast or famine. If she's behind, she kind of feels like dead weight and you're in a 4v5. If she's ahead, she's so oppressive, she can feel like the entire team by herself in 1v5. That's what feast or famine means, by the way. If you've heard that and you don't quite understand what that means, it means that unlike, say, in a matchup where maybe you've fallen behind but could still possibly catch up a bit, and, certain situations with certain champions, older champions, when they're behind, they're probably just done. That's kind of it. And unlike in certain matchups where maybe they're behind because you put them behind, when it comes to a feast or famine champion, sometimes they can just be behind even if they're doing everything right, unless they're just super snowballing and getting a bunch of kills, and that can kind of feel a little bit bad, right? The power's in your hand, and even with all of your, the stars aligning, nothing went quite right. So that's the question I want to pass off to you guys going forward in this video, is just, when you play against Akali, what's something that you think is A, fair and okay, and as such if it stays around it'll be alright, but B, maybe not so much okay, whether it needs clarity or you kind of just hope it gets removed. Because when they do this whole reworking of Akali, which will be probably soon, to address that feast or famine, they might do to her what they've kind of done to a lot of assassins lately, and that's give them better wave clear. Zed's a good example of a champion who, in my opinion, even as an AD carry player, everything he does on paper makes sense. So as such, I hate him the least, if at all. Of course, as an assassin, if assassins what they want to do is assassinate you, that can be annoying regardless of what, how balanced they are or not. But Zed, in my opinion, at least on paper, also does what he translates in game, and it at least feels like most of the time for me, I could have maybe done something better, right? Even when he ults and becomes untargetable, you know he's gonna appear behind you. The whole classic, Omae wa mo shindeyu. Nani? That whole thing right there, right? Like, he's gonna be behind you. If you have CC of some sort, throw the CC behind you, try to lock down Zed, and if you don't, then he's gonna probably assassinate you and get to do his job. You both get to operate in that moment. Certain assassins maybe don't always have that exact clarity, but certain assassins used to be hindered by wave clear that they're not maybe as much anymore going to be going forwards, and I think Akali's also gonna not be an exception. She's probably gonna have better wave clear, I should say. She doesn't have, like, no wave clear, but she does have better wave clear. To emphasize where I'm coming from, I don't really play a lot of Akali, to be honest. 90% of all the Akali games I've played are probably ARAM games, but I did try to play a bit more Akali recently to get maybe a little bit more insight on the champion. Doesn't make me an expert or anything like that, but one of the things I would notice is, in one game that I played, and these were bot games, let me spoil that, but in one game, it was a bit easier to just kind of snowball a lead after getting fed off of the bots. Of course, it was bots, so that's how it should be. But that's kind of why I want to bring this up, because in the second example, it was bots also. But in the second example, because it was bots, beginner kind of players, like 3 people went mid lane, Sona went bot lane by herself, and then I was top lane against Nunu Cho'Gath. And this is where it can finally maybe, feel a bit like the feast or famine kind of thing, because of the lack of wave clear that you have, I kind of had to sit under tower and wave clear a lot, and even then it wasn't that great with Akali, unless I maybe would have rushed a Luden's Echo, and then my dumb behind decided I wanted to still go Lich Bane and Gunblade as my first 2 items, not necessarily in that order, but still. It probably would have made my life better if I would have done that, but my point is, some assassins have better wave clear without having to rely on Ludens at this point, and maybe that's something that will change about Akali. But furthermore, do you think, kind of just what do you hope to come out of the Akali rework in terms of playing against Akali, right? There's a lot of reworks come out, there's always a lot of fear that's going to be broken or something, and of course, even if it's not broken because it's new and unfamiliar, it's still hard to play against a little bit, but that's all for this video from me. So, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, add your own opinion in the comment section down below as well, but I don't know which video will be next, because I can have a lot of kinks. So until next time, take care, GG, get jinxed. Thank you for watching.